It's been a little bit over a week now since Kingdom Hearts 3's newest trailer came out at D23. At the event, we got to witness the reveal of Toy Story as the world, some new Keyblade transformations, and of course a release window. That's not everything we found out though. After the event, Nomura ended up being in a ton of interviews where he revealed some very interesting information about the game. For starters, we got news on Kingdom Hearts 3 potentially being on the Nintendo Switch, news for another possible playable character in the game, discussions about the gameplay mechanics, and just loads of more stuff we found out about. I decided that instead of covering all these things in separate videos, I was going to wait for all these articles to breathe for a bit and slow down so I could make one big video to wrap up all the news we got at D23 this year. So this video could possibly end up being a bit lengthy, but that just means I have to work harder to keep your guys' attention and keep you guys entertained. So I hope you all enjoy the video regardless. So with those things being said, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? My name is Prodigy, and welcome to a video where I give to you guys all the news that came out of D23 last week. Hope you all enjoy. So the first article that we will be discussing about is Nomura's comments on Kingdom Hearts 3 potentially getting a Nintendo Switch port, where he stated that if the games were going to be ported onto the Switch, they will be ported after the PS4 and Xbox One versions come out, which he said is the case because fans would more than likely say things like, don't focus on other platforms, which he isn't entirely wrong about, because honestly, the last thing the community wants at this point is Kingdom Hearts 3's development being held back because of anything. Same thing goes for a comment he made about people wanting Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 and 2.8 being ported over to Xbox consoles. He questioned whether Western audiences would want that, yet the point he's trying to make here is that they want to focus on Kingdom Hearts 3. So after Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out, they may end up putting these things into consideration. Honestly, my opinions on Kingdom Hearts 3 being on Nintendo Switch, I made a video a while ago about it, but I think that it's a fun idea. I would love to play Kingdom Hearts 3 on the go, so yeah, I agree with Nomura though. I do think they should focus on PS4 and Xbox for right now regarding Kingdom Hearts 3, then think about future possibilities. So on to the next article. Nomura hints at another character being playable aside from Sora in Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I made a video about this topic as well only about 2 or so weeks ago, which I must thank you guys for because that video did insanely well, but this is awesome to me. I would love to play as someone else in Kingdom Hearts 3. Of course, I want Sora to be the main protagonist throughout the majority of the game, but all the possibilities that could possibly come with having more characters being playable is something I don't want Square Enix to ignore, you know what I mean? So anyways, here's what was said. So it would be tough to introduce many multiple playable characters, but there is an intention of adding a playable character aside from Sora. Unfortunately, we're not able to disclose who it is yet, but there will be another playable character. So if that isn't confirmation, I don't know what is. This is crazy to me though. It's not so much of the fact that there is another character who is going to be playable, but it's the way he says it to me. The way he's saying it to me, I feel like the character will be someone we wouldn't expect or someone we haven't played before, which sounds awesome. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting too excited. You guys tell me what you think about that one. There's more though to this article. Nomura also talks about multiple people being in your party, which he states that up to 5 people can join it. Now, I don't know if he means 5 more added on to Sora, Donald, and Goofy, or 5 including them like we saw in the Toy Story trailer. Now, I'm going to assume he means 5 including the main squad because 8 people in the party sounds a little wild. I would love it if it could work though. So moving on from that, now we have some news about the Gummy Ship returning in Kingdom Hearts 3. This is something I'm genuinely interested in. In this article, Nomura confirms that the Gummy Ship will return. That's a given, I feel. He says that what it will be like, he can't say. He went on to say how they always try to make it different somehow, even if the changes are slight. Point is, the Gummy Ship has evolved. Now next up, we got a big article where Nomura speaks a lot about Toy Story and why it's the world. Nomura says how the world is very iconic in the world of CG, saying that he's always imagined Sora meeting Woody and Buzz, and is glad that he is now able to execute that. The following statement he made is that Pixar preferred for us to not follow the film directly. They said, please create something original to Kingdom Hearts. So we did not draw any inspiration from the films, it is completely original and exclusive to Kingdom Hearts. So you can almost say it's a sequel of some sort. So yeah, this world along with Big Hero 06 will also be following its own story, which is exciting to hear since it would be a little bit boring to just follow the movie plot like we have in the past so many times, so I'm really glad this is the case. Now in this quote, Nomura talks about the Galaxy Toys area, where we see Sora fighting inside the big robots. The quote says as follows: Galaxy Toys is going to be your primary stage where a lot of the action is going to be happening in this world. Because Sora, Don, and Goofy are toys and very small, the playing field is going to feel very large. We also have multiple floors, and each section has its own personality. So to speak, Sora will be looking for members of the Organization 13 in the toy store. This is very interesting to me. I'm curious about Sora looking for organization members in the store, which is probably why the cutscene at the end of the trailer was young Xehanort took place. Rather than having multiple different little worlds, we wanted to make sure we're providing rich gameplay in an individual world, so we put in a lot of effort and allocated a lot of resources to create these worlds, and it would be sad for players not to enjoy the world and breeze right through it. Therefore, we made sure that each of the worlds is designed so players can take their time and enjoy the gameplay that's available. You saw some mechs in the middle of the trailer, and you don't necessarily have to board them in order to fight the enemies in that area, but I mean mechs. You can ride a mech. You want to ride it, right? I wanted to showcase that there's nothing that's impossible at this point. Previously, we couldn't have Sora ride on different things to fight, and now we can. We wanted to showcase that with the specs of the current generation hardware, it is possible. We're hoping there's a surprise element with each new mechanic that is introduced with Kingdom Hearts 3, and we're going to be revealing more information as they become available. Now, of course, things like this are always really exciting to hear about because we want this game to be great. We want this game to exceed the ones that have come before it, and them adding little things that you can interact with while playing will only make the overall experience better in my own opinion. Alright, so on to the next article we got here for you guys is going to be talking about the tiers of magic that will be present in Kingdom Hearts 3. Here's the quote: "The background of the tier of the magic up until now, only King Mickey was able to utilize the most powerful form of magic, which was Stop Sun Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. It has existed, and then in 2.8, as Aqua becomes Keyblade Master, she is also able to control the highest form of certain magic. As you notice, it is a higher tier of magic, and Sora is going to be able to use that in Kingdom Hearts 3 as well. So yeah, it seems like in Kingdom Hearts 3 there won't be any magic tiers like Fire to Fire to Firaga or any of that. It's looking like Sora will pretty much just be starting out with the highest tier of magic. That's what it seems like from previous trailers anyways. So if this is the case, I don't know how I feel about that, because I like the aspect personally of leveling up your magic throughout the game because it gave you something to work for, and it was just a cool little feature to add. Now, that's just me though, it's not too big of a deal, it's all up to how the people over at Square want to handle it. So moving on, we have some pretty cool information about something called Athletic Flow, which we've seen in previous trailers in the past. Here's what it said. It's a new mechanic that we're implementing into Kingdom Hearts 3. The Japanese name is Athletic Flow. I don't know what the English final name is just yet. It's based on the flow motion mechanic, and it's basically revamped and introduced as a new mechanic in Kingdom Hearts 3. You'll be utilizing the environment to propel yourself to an area that you're not normally able to go to, or again running up the cliff during battle. Those can be expected in each world, in each of the different worlds you'll be traversing through. So like I said, we have seen this mechanic before in previous trailers. It's presented kind of in a similar way of how flow motion is. I like that the environment is going to be relevant during boss fights and other battles and isn't just going to be something to look at in the background. This is something really cool, and I hope Square Enix executes this successfully throughout the game. Now Nomura talks about what summons will be like in Kingdom Hearts 3. If I could provide a glimpse, I've made it more pretty. Not just the literal modeling, but it's more about how we're expressing it that has become more pretty. So yeah, if you're wondering what summons will be like in Kingdom Hearts 3, they'll be pretty. Okay, jokes aside, we'll probably get more info on summons down the line. So moving on from that, we got some info on Keyblade transformations. First and foremost, each Keyblade will have its own form that it can transform into, and it's different per Keyblade. There are at least 2 different forms it can take. For example, in Toy Story, you saw the giant hammer and then the drill. Another one was at the beginning of the trailer, where you saw Sora shoot arrows and it then turned into a bazooka. So there are 2 different forms. It also has multiple layers in terms of transforming. You start out with your first phase of transformation, and if you successfully connect your combos, the next transformation will happen. We're still trying to finalize the specifications, but with that being said, it is subject to change, so it might evolve into something even more impressive. So Keyblade Transformations work exactly like how I expected them to, and I'm happy. For those of you that don't know, so far with Kingdom Hearts 3, my favorite thing has to be Keyblade Transformations. The idea just looks so awesome, and I can't wait to see what other Keyblade Transformations look like. Okay, now we got another big article. This one is about why Kingdom Hearts 3 has been taking so long. So I'm going to just get right into it. A lot of people have been mentioning and making it sound like, oh, Nomura's taking too much time, and it hurts. There was a decision made to change to an external engine, Unreal Engine 4, so we switched over to that. Unfortunately, there was a bit of time that needed to be rewinded and started over, so there was a bit of a setback there. But it was a decision that the company had to make, so it was inevitable. We had a plan of the period that it's going to take for us to create the content at the start of the project, and we laid out, after such and such years, we would need to add more personal resources. We had submitted it to our headquarters and had it approved, but internal personnel is very limited, and there are various different projects that happen within our company, so unfortunately timing did not work out. So we had to make do with the timing that was appropriate for the company. The company makes the decision, so unfortunately sometimes it is out of my control. I wanted to emphasize that it wasn't a problem on our development teams, it just happened that way, and there were some decisions the company had to make, and it didn't work out for certain timings that we were hoping to hit. It's kind of out of my hands. I mean, yes, time has passed, but it's out of my hands. So for those people who like to constantly harass the team working on Kingdom Hearts 3 about its release date, he finally gave you a reason on why it's been taking so long. Sometimes it's out of their hands on what they want to do. Honestly, I'm thinking about making a separate video where I respond to all these people who do this constantly and who are always trying to find something to complain about. The same people who are harassing developers for a release date are now the same people who are calling Kingdom Hearts 3 a rush project. Like, I honestly don't understand. But that's a topic for another day, so let's continue. I don't think we'll be keeping any worlds secret until the game is released. I think we will be introducing them leading up to launch. Nowadays, games can add content on after the fact through DLC content, so there's no need to hide any worlds. Now, as a Kingdom Hearts fan, I don't want them to reveal all the worlds before release. I want the experience of the worlds to be a surprise, and I don't want that surprise being ruined. But you guys got to understand that from a business standpoint, advertisement is the #1 way to get your stuff out there. Even if you're a big company like Apple or Sony, you got to advertise your stuff to get it out there so more people can find out about it. Same goes for Kingdom Hearts 3. Them revealing a lot of Disney worlds will only allow more Disney fans to migrate over to the series. They've done this before with the Kingdom Hearts games, and it's no surprise that they're going to be doing it with Kingdom Hearts 3. So speaking further on the worlds, Nomura said, I feel like I've packed in much more fun than I had in my previous Kingdom Hearts titles. Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be our first full HD game in our current console generation. It does involve a lot of bandwidth and resources in order to create in full HD, so our directive was to have as many elements as possible of gameplay included in one single world, rather than having multiple different little worlds with few elements. We wanted to pack in as many gameplay elements and fun into a single world. If we were able to accomplish everything that we did plan out before, I'm pretty confident that people will enjoy and be fully satisfied with the end product. So once again, Nomura is confident about his game, which also makes me confident that it will be great, and once again, I also love how they're going the extra mile to make each world its own experience. The next article that I have here for you guys talks about Kingdom Hearts 3's 2018 release. In terms of when we decided that it's going to be 2018, I can't say for certain, but we knew that from the start of the project we had determined how long the development period was going to be. We had this goal that we set in our planning. We would spend this much amount of time on this, and then our personnel would be increased at such timing. So the plan was already there, but there were some factors that tied in with our company's decisions. There was a decision to change the engine, also some personnel planning that had also changed. So there were some factors that were related to the company's decisions which affected the actual timing at which we will be releasing. That being said, the period that we were planning to spend to create the game was still there, and it just naturally shifted. So we feel that we have been moving according to plan. Okay, so moving on from this, Nomura also got some questions on if it's a challenge for him to be working on both Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3. Here's what he said. The differences between them actually work to my advantage. If both tiles were too similar, they might start to look the same. With the two being so different, if there was one thing that I could not do in one title, I might be able to do it in the other. This actually works out well for me in that way. Hopefully both games turn out to be masterpieces, and that's all I have to say about that. Next up, Nomura talks about attraction flow, where he says that attraction flow is random depending on the area. Now, I don't know how I feel about this because I personally feel like you should be able to choose what attraction flow you use, yet I don't see any real negatives to it being a surprise at the same time. It kind of depends on how they utilize this and how useful it is in battle type thing. Next up, we got another article with IGN where Nomura talks a lot about story involving Maleficent and Pete and Roxas and much more regarding the story. Of course, the 2.9, the first volume narrative, does connect to Kingdom Hearts 3, but I understand that there were some speculations about like, is there going to be another 2.9 that's going to come out, but rest assured, it is already that bridge, that link is already bridged, so we are now leading up towards Kingdom Hearts 3. Whenever Maleficent and Pete go to different worlds, they may interact with some of the villains, Disney villains that exist in that world, but they are their own thing. Maleficent leading the way, they have no sort of cooperation with Organization 13, nor are they conflicting or enemies against those people. Sora is battling the 13 darknesses, but Maleficent and Pete are kind of separate from that, so she doesn't necessarily actively poke at Sora or try to bother him. This is interesting to me because ever since that cutscene from Recoded in Key Browser, I've been wondering about what Maleficent's role in Kingdom Hearts 3 would be. So this next quote talks about Roxas and about nobodies and Heartless coexisting. That brings to Sora's attention. If a Heartless and Nobody can exist at the same time, can Sora and Roxas exist at the same time too? And to do that, Xemnas is asking Sora, do you intend on utilizing the power of darkness? So that's the kind of narrative that we wanted to talk about in that section of the game. Okay, now I know a lot of people are against Roxas returning. I don't have a problem with it at the moment. I could care less, to be honest with you. It just depends on how they execute it for me. This quote here is talking about Kairi and her piece at the Kingdom Hearts Orchestra. With the help of Merlin, she's now in this sort of environment where there's no limitation of time, so she can train and focus on training to become a Keyblade wielder. And so in Kingdom Hearts 3 itself, also it will be touched upon that those two are currently training. By those two, he means Kairi and Lee, who are also in training as we know from the ending of 0.2. I'm a bit excited for Kairi, to be honest with you. I hope she actually contributes to the plot instead of becoming that damsel in distress like she's been throughout the whole series, but that's just what I think. With Kingdom Hearts 3, there was a deliberate intent to kind of focus on the newer titles, and then in terms of previous titles, we tried to balance it so that we had a good mix of some of the older IPs as well as some of the new worlds. But yeah, with Kingdom Hearts 3, there was a shift in that sort of thinking, so we can focus on some of the newer titles. I'm personally happy about this. I know there's a couple worlds people want to return, but I think it's time the worlds get revamped, and by that I mean them adding new worlds and adding new elements, which I'm glad they're doing. I honestly have been enjoying a lot of the more recent Disney movies and Pixar movies, and I think they've been great and could be great worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3. With the previous flow motion, it seemed a little too free, and we did receive feedback from the consumers that it was. They didn't know what to do with it, and it was kind of hard to control on their end, so we tried to refine it, and it's evolved into now what we call athletic flow. I do agree that flow motion in Dream Drop Distance, although it was fun to use, didn't have any major use other than getting some treasure chests at a high area. The flow motion or athletic flow shown in Kingdom Hearts 3 does look a lot more refined and clean and just looks like it controls better. You can expect to see different sort of gameplay happening in each of the different worlds, and we have those specific points that we would love for the players to pay attention to. This is once again a statement where they are saying that the worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3 will be a lot better and have more to offer, which is once again nice to hear. Well guys, there you have it. This is all the news that came out of D23. I hope you all enjoyed. I put loads of time and effort into this video and putting it together for you guys, so you could have one place to get all the news you may have missed out on. If any other news comes out that I consider major, I will of course cover it in a separate video. Big thanks to the people over at KH13 and KH Insider. They put a lot of work into translating this and getting this news out to you guys, so I would really appreciate appreciate it if you went over and checked out those sites. Links in the description as always. If you enjoyed today's video, do not forget to leave a like as it helps this video get recommended to others and shows me you guys enjoy videos like this. Sharing this video means a bunch as always, since it helps the channel grow and introduces my content to more people who may enjoy it. And most importantly, do not forget to subscribe if you have not already and are new to the channel and enjoy what you see here. It will only help us grow even more and push us one step closer to reaching our next goal, which is 500 subscribers. You guys are the best. I can't do this without you guys, and I would really appreciate all or any type of support you can give me. I also want to hear from you guys. What is your favorite news article you heard about today? What excites you the most about what was stated? Leave a comment down below. Anyways though guys, thank you once again for all the support. I'm Prodigy, and I hope to see you guys next time. Peace out.